to the program. And of course, my name is Carol Nyakojga, and I'm really pleased to be welcoming you back to this episode that we've been speaking to a fantastic, amazing guest in Fungai Ndemera, who is part of the Dream Blazers Academy that is based in the United Kingdom. And the Dream Blazers Academy, basically what they do is they work on mindset. They work on changing people's mindsets and looking at how you can move from point A to point B. And that's with regards to the entrepreneurship journey, and also just with regards to purpose and discovering yourself within life. And of course, we are speaking to Fungai. We spoke earlier about the history and the journey, the beginnings, and how things started for Fungai, her background, her family, and the issues that she faced, rejection, the migration, polygamy, and some of the issues that were there, the socio-economic issues that were part of what formed the mindset that then developed within this person that we're speaking to today. And what I want you to do is to be able to open yourself up to listen to what Fungai is saying today, particularly to the fact that, mapping out how you move from point A to point B. Of course, we all know, and those that don't, Fungai is now a very successful business person and a very successful businesswoman who has set up numerous businesses. And so you are what we call a serial entrepreneur, aren't you really?
Thank
and
you.
as I always say, Fungai, I love having you on the program. You bring such life and such hope. And so Fungai, back to you. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Carol.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure.
Fantastic. So how have you been?
I have been amazing, busy as usual, traveling.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Good.
But it's been good.
Good.
Where
have you gone?
It's embracing the journey.
Good.
Well, we are launching something amazing in Zimbabwe this year in 2018.
Right. Okay.
Part of the bigger picture, giving back, purpose, changing lives. So I'll be talking to you about that later on.
Oh, good. Oh, wow. I'm looking forward to that. I absolutely am. And I know, when we started speaking earlier on, we were speaking with regards to your journey and speaking about where you've been and kind of how you came to be where you are now, the journey that you've taken, obviously the disadvantages that you had within the family and within sort of your family dynamic. And what stood out was the fact that you, at a very young age, decided that you were going to do something to change your mother's life, because out of that you felt that perhaps that was the way that your family could come out of the situation that you were in. But to fast forward a little bit now, can you paint a picture of what do you actually do in the present? What do you do now?
Right. So thank you, Caroline, for asking that question. It's a difficult one, but I'll do my best. So
Yeah.
what I wanted to let you know first and foremost is that we should never despise our days of our small beginnings, because it is those experiences that makes us become who we are. It's through those resilient, through those difficult moments where we have had to build our resilience, right? So when I look back from those difficult times when life is so difficult, things are so hard, you have to struggle and scramble for things, my resilience was built. That now I am stronger. My tenacity is there. So really, I am able to fight through any situation. So, when they say success is built through failures and difficulties, that's been my story.
Oh, wow.
So where I am now is that I run a few companies in the UK. Our empire, goes across UK, Zimbabwe, India. And believe it or not, I never went to university. Actually, as a matter of fact,
Did you not?
I've never been to university, Caroline, to study, right?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I only ended O-level.
Wow.
And as a matter of fact, I failed my O-level
Wow.
because of these emotional issues that were going on when I was writing my O-levels. I failed. But what made the difference is that I was willing to go back to school and say,
And do
I
it
am
again.
not a failure. I'm going to do it again. So for me, failing started when I was 14, 15. I failed. And I decided that, no, this is not me. I must fight and try again. So I went back to school, wrote all my subjects, 8 subjects, because I didn't want to end up with 2 certificates. So I went back, wrote my O-levels again, and passed all my subjects. And passing those subjects at my GCSEs and O-levels was the key that changed my story.
But maybe
That was the beginning.
Maybe to kind of bring you back to that, to the word that you brought into the conversation, which is failure. And I guess the thing to be kind of thinking about and And define, because there could be somebody that is watching us today and they feel like they failed in life and they've perhaps not reached what their expectation is. And I guess the question to be asking is, what is failure? Is it actually, is it a fact? Is what do you do? How does one respond to it, to their perception of what they feel is failure?
Right. So again, failure really should be a positive thing. But what society had made us to understand is that it's a negative experience. So those beliefs, mindsets. Yet without failure, you wouldn't know what it means to win.
Right.
They go together. You need to fail first so you understand what it means to win. And when you fail, when you then win, you appreciate the winning more because you understand the other side. So you need the both experiences. But when I was in that place then, when I was younger and I failed my O levels, I suppose I did not realize that then it was a positive experience, because surely for me that was the closing of all doors, all opportunities. That is, I'm done. Where else could you go? Maybe get married and have kids.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or be a temporary teacher.
A temporary teacher or whatever. But at least temporary teacher is an opportunity.
Yeah.
But without
without your GCSEs, you can't read that, can you?
In African settings, you know that, right? So what I'm saying is, for me, it was the choosing to try again, dusting myself and say, okay, the next registration, I'm registering again. I'm going back to school. And thank God that there was somebody as well willing to pay for my exam fees. So I went back, wrote my GCSEs, and to cut the long story short, passed those GCSEs. Somebody felt sorry for me as a young girl and said, oh my gosh, you are amazing. You've worked hard. You could do with getting a place in your nursing. That's how I got a place, became a nurse.
So I think the thing is, we stumble, but we do not fall.
We do not fall.
So we do stumble, but we do not fall. So if you are from that place of stumbling as it is right now, and you're kind of feeling stuck in that place of negative emotion and perhaps feeling frozen in a state of maybe unable to get up, how do you get up from that state? What did you have to do different? What was it that you were going through? What thoughts, what emotions were you going through that allowed you to think that you could go back and pick yourself up again? Because this story is also, I suppose, it's not the first time. And when you've spoken about your story before, you also have instances where in business things have not quite happened the way that you planned them.
Yeah.
So perhaps if somebody's at a place now where they're thinking of starting a business, or maybe they have, and they've put in a lot of money into it. They had a great idea. They put a lot of money into it. Then it didn't work out. Well, what happens then?
Actually, the truth is, we fail more than we win.
Right.
So it's okay to fail. It's about being okay with the fact that it's okay to fail, because this is just stumbling. You know, when a baby is learning to walk, kugumburu, the baby is going to try again until the next time the baby is going to walk and run. So we need to understand that concept from that point of view, that actually life is not meant to be a perfect road. It's not meant to be a perfect process. But those that succeed, they allow themselves to fail so many times that when they win, it's a big leap. You understand? So it's so important for us to understand that failure is part of the process. And when it happens, it's okay. But what is important is, in the midst of failing and in the midst of that happening, when it has happened, you have got to learn your lessons. You have got to acknowledge that, yes, I have failed. Analyze and critically look at yourself, personal, and look at, what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? So you reflect on that matter, and then you learn. When you have learned your lessons, you pick them up and you try walk that road again. Again and again and again and again, until you get it right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So as I sit here, I've been nearly bankrupt, Caroline. Failed so many times that when the recession came, 2007, 2008, I woke up, went into an office. We had 5 offices across England: London, Birmingham, Milton Keynes, Shrewsbury and Telford, and Wolverhampton. We employed more than 40 office staff. This is not, field workers, just people who work in the offices, managers and stuff. And you wake up and you get to the office and there's an email saying that actually you've lost all the contracts. We are not going to be using your services anymore. We are in recession. And the next email that you are receiving is that actually we owed you 20, 30,000, 40,000, but actually we've gone into administration.
And we can't give you that money.
And
how do you pick up from there?
Exactly. This is what I'm saying.
How do you pick up from there?
Exactly.
And if the thing that was driving you as a person was the money, I mean, we'll pick you up in an accident and emergency, for real.
Absolutely. So you asked me a question earlier on in the first episode so what changed your mindset?
Yeah.
So my mindset have been on a journey where this business had been thriving.
Yeah.
And we are doing very well. And this is before the recession. The business was flying. But I felt a slave to the business because...
Do you know what?
I felt a slave to the business.
Yes. Preach it. Oh, please. Speak about that one.
Because most of us, and myself included...
Me too.
When I went into business, Caroline...
Yeah.
Back then in 2001, I thought, oh my gosh, this is my ticket to heaven. I have arrived. I have a business. I wake up and I go into my office and I have got staff people to order around, right? Little did I know that a business is a person in its own right with responsibilities. It's like having a baby, which is going to grow and is going to need university fees. So at this point now, the business has grown. It's looking very good outside, but it's killing me inside. The responsibilities are huge of growth. The legal requirements are massive. And so it becomes a very lonely place. Without the right support systems, you will break down, because when you have challenges, let's say, for example, cash flow issues, and you can't pay all your staff that month, who'd you go to?
Well, this is the thing. And when I think I can relate with this in the sense, when I started my business, I felt the same. I felt, oh, good, now I'm a businesswoman. Oh, yes. But actually, you've got all the back office things calling at you.
That's right.
So I can relate with that.
You can, right?
And the stress then of not being able to sleep at night, trying to balance this, the minute you get this sorted, something else pops up.
Let me tell you something else.
So what have you done about that?
Let me tell you something else before I tell you what I've done about that. Because that was the change of my journey again to the next level. So I'm taking you to where I am now.
Yeah.
That was another change of gear. So now I am frustrated, I am stressed. But my friends, my family, those people around me,
they think
do
you
not
got money.
Because I've got money. How can you have problems? Never mind that. All your other hats as a woman, you still have to wear them. You still have to be a wife.
Yeah.
You still have to be a mom. You still have to be a daughter-in-law. You still have to be a sister, an auntie. So all these things are calling your name, and you've only got 24 hours.
Okay.
You've only got 24 hours. There's a funeral here. You want to take off your heels and run. The office needs you. There is a church service, a church conference. You want to see yourself.
A prayer meeting.
You find yourself. So you push yourself to a point of breaking, mentally and emotionally. But the worst case scenario is that you do not have a support system, because those around you in our diaspora migrant community are not at the same place as you. And when you try to connect with other people who are at the same level as you, but maybe they are different culture, different ethnic minority, different group, so your types of problems are not the same.
Yeah.
So for me, this is where now my business journey took me, to a place of loneliness. It pushed me to a very secluded place.
Yeah.
And even to have these conversations with my husband, we would have them, but he could not relate to me because he's not a woman.
Well, never mind that as well. Like we work as a team, and I run the healthcare side of our business. He runs something completely different. So I can relate. I can explain. But if I explain, he doesn't know. I'm the one who's going through it. I can kind of relate with that, isn't it? Where perhaps you're in a relationship or you're in a dynamic or even a partnership, even a business partnership, where you have maybe another part, looking at the HR and then another part looking at something else different. But where your issues in terms of coming together and the debrief and the support network. So yeah, definitely I can kind of relate
So
to
that's when, for me, that's when I was suffocating. I could not handle this business anymore. I could not do it. I was just in my own little world that nobody could understand. But the outside world, when they look at you, they see money written all over your face, but internally you are struggling. So it was during that time when I went to a conference. It was a business seminar, and I was trying to reach out to look for help, just to hear how others were doing. And I don't remember the name of the conference or who spoke, but I remember being at that conference and this person saying, you are struggling and you've got issues, you're looking for answers. And actually the answers are inside you. Wow. Boom. Light bulb moment for me, right? When I'm listening to that. And I'm like, this person is talking to me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look for answers and all that. I need to figure this. The answers are inside me. So look, let's just trace back what happened. I took action.
Right, because that's the thing I was going to be asking you then, because it's one thing to recognize that you've got an issue or a concern, or even to feel that you've got pressures of life or whatever, at whatever stage that you're at, whether you're somebody that's in business or in a job, in a whatever situation, at school, exams, university. It's one thing to be able to identify the fact that, this is what I'm sensing, I'm under pressure here. And then it's another thing to then migrate and think, well, hang on, I could do something about this. And then it's another thing to actually go out and look for the help that you require. And actually, a lot of people stop there.
And actually, Caroline, let me tell you something. Initially, I think what really got me to that point where I was now nearly breaking down was that initially I was looking for something cheap.
Like a £5,
or free, or a freebie, or a free conference, or a free workshop. I needed to change the way I think. I sacrificed that day, that weekend, to pay a lot of money to attend a business conference. It
for someone else or for yourself?
For myself. That's
so
what
you
I
were
was
investing in yourself there.
I took action and invested in myself because I thought I need an answer. So I took action, spent money, went to this conference. But the transformation I got from that conference, I can never pay it back in money.
Wow. So what you're saying there is from the thought process to actually sensing something, realizing there's a problem, and then thinking about something, and then you took an action in terms of investment in self.
That's right.
So whatever situation that you're at, whatever place that you're at, it's going through those steps and then deciding to do something about you as a person. Okay.
Exactly, because when I came from that conference, I came holding a word that really transformed me, and I thought, boom,
your mindset.
I need to change. I need to do something about this situation because nobody else is going to rescue me out of this matter. It's my business. I started it. I need to deal with it. It's either I'm going to give up this business and go back to 9 to 5, or I'm going to make this business work, but stop being a slave to this business. So at this point, I needed a way of taking myself away from the business and stop being a slave. You understand? So
you took control of your life.
Yeah.
So where you could have been a victim to a situation, you became a victor and decided to harness and take control of your life with regards to that.
That's right.
Wow. So the actions that you've taken there is one, you've decided to invest in, one, you've had a thought, and then you've decided to invest in yourself, and then you've decided to change how you perceive the same situation.
That's right.
Right.
So the action is going ahead now to taking me to where I am. That's when I came back and I spoke to my husband and I told him the transformation that had happened to me. And I'm like, you know what? I think I've got the answer to my problem. I was giving up because my husband was actually saying to me, you know what? If you don't want this business anymore, why don't you sell it? I can't have a woman, a wife.
Husbands are good, but husbands.
With the mental health problems.
You know what I mean? Because they love the people around you, they love you so much, but they can also be detrimental to your success. Oh, please. So you had to
because he just could, because I was become a pain in his life.
Yeah.
Because I was dragging myself to the office every morning.
Yeah.
I was giving him stress now, and he said, "You know what? I don't care what you do. I think it's okay. You sell it."
Yeah.
So when I was given that option, and I thought, do I really want to sell the business and give up and go back to work?
Nights.
I thought, no, okay, let me figure this. Honestly, Caroline, that was the beginning of the transformation of my journey, because I realized that I could make this business work if I could put processes and systems in place.
Wow. So that's key. I mean, our time's getting so jealous. You know, I could sit with you forever and really sort of tap into what you have and what you have to be listening. But certainly then, if you are moving on from a journey of stress, of distress, of what you term as failure, but we then decided, you know what, we stumble, but we do not fall. And, you know, you move on from that place of failure or whatever that you define, how you define it. You come to a place of thinking, and then you come to a place of obviously investing in self, and then you come to a place of action. But also, it's also about being conscious of the environment that is around you and the words that are spoken, not out of malice, but the words that are spoken by those who love you, who actually can speak words that can stop you from going forward, not because they hate you or they don't want you to succeed, but because they love you too much.
That's right.
The journey of an entrepreneur is not easy then.
No, it's not, Caroline. But it was through all that little bit that we've described that I have become who I am today, because it was through the journey of trying to figure my own business. How do I make my business work? How do I put my processes in place? That now, part of the business and part of the work that we do, we now write and create software processes for other businesses.
Right. So all of this was to answer the one question.
Yeah.
And the one question I asked you is, who is Fungai today?
So what I do now...
So what do you do? What do you actually do? What do you do
what
now?
I do now is I focus on transforming businesses, to help them change structure and put structures and processes in place. That's part of what I do. Part of that work requires to have an IT team that writes solutions from scratch. So we come to you, Caroline, and say, Caroline, this is your business. How do you want your business that is in here translated onto paper? How do we help that achieve onto paper and translate that into technology? Because if you put one system in place that everybody can use, it means that you can have an enterprise that is across continents.
And that can free you up, because I think the
you
stage that you were explaining, if you look at, there's a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he what he explains is being employed to being self-employed. So actually you were running your business for all those years as a self-employed business person.
As a slave to the business.
Yes. And
it's not even self-employment.
So you're a slave
slavery
to the business. Yeah.
Because you can't have a break, you can't have a holiday. If there is a funeral or a death, you can't go, because you are slaving away in your business, isn't it? So somebody who's working for someone, they can take time off and ask for annual leave and go. You can't.
You can't do that.
So really, what we are saying is you need to start a business, but you need to start it in a structured way. That's where the Dream Blazers Academy come in, because part of the Dream Blazers Academy is to help change people's mindsets and say, hey, being a business owner is not being a slave. Because from these experiences, we learned that you need a structured way of working and laying foundations. Once you've defined the foundation, you can now put pillars in place and hire the right people that are going to give you the freedom. You have the business and you have freedom, so that you can pursue your purpose. Because your purpose is not running a business. Your purpose is to be creating solutions that solve the world problems.
So your purpose is to be creating solutions. Those of you that were asking earlier on, what is purpose and what is the reason that we have to be involved in purpose? Your purpose and our purpose is to be able to create solutions, identify need and create a solution.
Yeah, we are co-creators, isn't it, with our creator. Our creator made us part of him. So we are creatives naturally. And that's what we are meant to do, to be creating in the garden, to be doing whatever, to be solving problems all the time. That's where our money comes in. But when you are running a small business that is just in one place, and where you are the key person that if you die today, that business dies, then that's not really a business.
I mean, as
sorry
I say,
to say,
our
but-
time our time is running out, and we are coming to the end of this episode. But you know what? I really would like to be able to meet some of your team. I know I attended one or two conferences that you ran, where I was investing in my own self, and met part of your Dream Blazers team, and I'll be really keen to get them on, because I know you speak a lot about mindset, and it would be really good to kind of dissect that and get to a place of understanding, because it becomes natural and normal for you because you live it. But how do we get to that place where mindsets can be changed? This is Candid Talk with Carol Nyakuchka in collaboration with Dream Blazers Academy on the Diaspora Urgent Question. And we are welcoming you to the program, but also really we are on a journey that we've been speaking to Fungai Ndemera, that is a serial entrepreneur. And as you can hear, it's a journey that you want to keep locking on and hearing more and more and more and more. But as we carry on, in the next episode, we will be joined by members of her Dream Blazers Academy. And also, our audience right here in the studio will be speaking to Fungai and asking some questions. So we're going to offer the opportunity in the next episode for questions to be asked, and perhaps a question that you might have at home. So from me, Carol Nyakuchka, until next time, thank you. Goodbye.